This episode of the Unwashed Asses is brought to you as always by patreon.com/0and09. If you dig what I do here, if you like, me busting ghosts and ghostbusters on Zero Lives and whatever other bullshit I decide to put up, then head on over to patreon.com/0and09. Pitch in a buck or two, a schmeckle, some geld. All I really ask is a buck a month. Keeps this show going, keeps the other shows going, and hopefully makes them better. Also brought to you by my inability to do ad reads. Thank God we don't have any actual advertisers. The Podcast Awards 2017. Unwashed Asses is up for an award in the mature category. So head on over to podcastawards.com, register, vote for us, get an award. Jeez, you take a week off and you think it'd be like riding a bike getting back into it, but it's like, no, oh shit, I got to get the studio lighting done, and I have to actually have the actual setup for the show ready to go, and my topics all set. I can't just make it up on a whim, and I've got to look good and be showered and blow into the microphone because my glasses are dirty. Uh, Yeah, so last week off because of overtime, but it's fine. It's fine. Gotta make the money somehow, and unless you head over to patreon.com/009, then the overtime will continue and shows may get delayed, but they'll get out. They will get out. I know I usually start with a rant about how busy I am. And I am. I'm hiding the mess that is the rest of the apartment. But we actually have good topics today. So I figure, you know what, we can go ahead and delve in, or I can continue to stall. I feel like there's parts where I need to keep you abreast as far as what happened in the past week. I don't know. I signed up for Facebook again. I haven't been on there in 7-ish months because I'm gonna be honest, Facebook is all bullshit. It's people living fake lives, posting fake stories to fake friends. It's all a matter of looking your absolute best to impress others and induce this false sense of worth and or accomplishment. I mean, I do the exact same shit where it's just like, look at me, look what I did, and this is amazing, and please give me a like. Now they have like new smiley faces and other bullshit that you can put in. But that's all it is it's wanting to get the numbers and the shares and the views, much like I do in anything else, except in a very condensed form where you have a trapped and hostage audience. And it was that trap and hostage audience that I was counting on, that oh shit, I'm up for an award. I could get the news out through my usual means, or I have a few dozen folks on Facebook that I could be like, hey, Great Aunt Marie, I do this show. It's called The Unwashed Asses. I know we haven't talked in a little while, and your memories of me should be pure because I was a little tyke. But here's this show where I swear and talk about, fucking fat women. Please head over and, take 5 minutes out of your day to register your email address and vote for this show. But I did it. I did it because, as I was debating it, somebody said, well, what can it hurt? What's the harm? What's the worst that could happen? And it's true, At most, people like, oh, Jesus Christ, what are you doing in your spare time? The fuck's wrong with you? And then it goes nowhere. I don't get any additional traction, but I still get the exposure. At best, every single one of you cunts listening to this right now shares it, and likes it, and you do the little winky face because you like it. Um, and then your friends spread it, and they spread it, and all of a sudden we have an award for the show. Doubtful that'll happen, because while I do, it's a matter of changing my mindset. Uh, I'm far too negative, far too down on the things that I do. I put a lot of hard work into this, and when people give me a compliment, I just need to smile and say thank you instead of saying, "Well, but you didn't see how much of a train wreck this was or that was." And the same thing goes when promoting my own stuff. I need to stop being so dour on it because honestly, it's awesome. I'm awesome. You're awesome. Everybody's awesome, and we're all on Facebook liking one another's shit. Oh fuck! But I vowed that I'm not gonna get sucked into the bullshit that is Facebook. I haven't reinstalled the app on my phone. It's like, nope. I'm just gonna check it on my computer and my tablet. My tablet, because it's like a second computer. That I can use when I'm out and about, despite me having a laptop. The laptop never leaves. But I digress. I'm not going to be checking it. I'm not going to be posting things and like, oh, we went to the beach today. Fast forward a week where he goes to the beach and posts a picture. Yeah, I'm really trying not to get sucked back into that, because again, that was why I got so turned off to it in the first place. It was just, oh, we went and we got married. We're having a baby. We just bought our first house. I had tacos. And then here's me like, I ate an entire pizza meal for 3 people by myself and played video games all weekend. It's, everybody has that, where we don't see the moments where, so Tina and I, we went out and we got super drunk, just totally fucked up. And she was holding my hair, and I was puking up this beef puree that we had. Oh my god! And you get hints of that, but you don't actually see like the Instagram photos with the filters that have like, really bring out the green in the puke. And it's condensed bullshit. It's everybody putting their best foot forward to impress a bunch of people that they don't really care about. Like I look at it and I have 30 oddish friends. Not that you're odd, you're just, it's a rounded number. On the Facebooks, and this is a much higher number because I went out and I said, the way I used to work things was, if we're not related by blood and if I'm not putting my penis inside of you, we're not friends on Facebook. I kept it very tight knit because I never understood the thing of, well, let's add in my second best friend from 3rd grade, and I graduated with all of you. You're friends with me on Facebook, and I'm gonna look at all your bullshit, or all the coworkers, because I always believed keep work and personal life separate. But apparently this was before I got a decent bunch of coworkers. Everybody else was an asshole. And so I went ahead and I'm like, oh well, I can add this person. I can add this person. And all of a sudden it's like, Facebook's giving me an award. You have over 30 friends. Congratulations. And I don't know, it's dumb. It's fucking dumb. I hate it. I hate myself for doing it, and I apologize that really, if you accepted my friend request recently, it's not going to be anything. Like, the only thing I'm using Facebook for is to shamelessly whore myself out and promote my products. So when the sticker pack and the t-shirts come out, that's all you're going to see. It's not like, Christian goes to the beach. Fast forward to him posting pictures on the beach. It's the way it's going to fucking work out. So now I feel better. We've eased into it. What did I do for the past week? So, speaking of which, for the past couple weeks, there's been some controversy at the complex. About 2 weeks ago, the elevator went out here. The building I live in is It's 3 stories tall. There's a lot of fucking apartments in it, and there are quite a few disabled folks that live on all floors, not just on the first floor. And aside from the elevator, there is, of course, a stairwell. But if you're driving a goddamn rascal or hover around, you're not getting down the stairs. Um, I mean, you could try. You're probably not going to end up any more crippled than you already are. But I don't know that insurance is going to cover repairs for you taking your hover around down the stairs. So we got a notice on the door saying, "Oh, the elevator's down for repairs." And typically, you think in instances like this, "Oh, well, it's just going to be a day or two," because elevator's kind of a big fucking deal, especially in the middle of summer when everybody's moving. You got people moving in, you got people moving out. You need the elevator if you're going to be on the second or third floor. You'd think. Day or two at the most. 1 week later, we get a bunch of notices on our doors. Just a generic notice taped on all the doors. It's going to take a little longer than expected to fix the elevator. No ETA. No update on what's actually happening. Yes. We're sorry for the inconvenience. It's taking longer than expected. Okay, fine. Whatever. I'm not friends with anybody in the building, like sweet Ginny down the hall who bakes a bitchin' apple pie that has bad arthritis and her hip has been replaced 2 times because she's a bit of a whore. She can't really use the stairs. She's going to bust another hip. And if she's going to bust another hip, she'd like to be with sweet Dion, who comes over every third Thursday. So it sucks for them, but again, I'm able-bodied. I have legs. At worst, I have, when I go shopping and I have bags and bags of groceries, I have to carry them up the stairs now, which kind of sucks. I might get a little hand cart and do like the old Jewish woman in New York that pushes her little cart of groceries around. But no, it's not impacting me too much, so I don't much pay attention to it. So after said notice, I come home and find a scribbled note on my door. And it's handwritten. It's not like typed up like our usual notices from the property manager are. And it's like, what the fuck is this? Somebody whose name I'm not going to reveal, not that you guys give a shit, posted a letter saying, "This is an outrage. Our elevator's been out, and I know most, if not all, of the people on the 3rd floor are disabled." And one, fuck you, guy, for thinking I'm crippled. Not that there's anything wrong with being crippled, but I'm not. Don't lump me in with the group that I'm not. Especially if I'm not getting the perks. If I'm not claiming disability, if I don't get that sweet parking sticker, I'm not disabled. I'm differently abled. But essentially it breaks down, here's all the numbers of people that you can contact about this. It's an outrage. So the building inspector, the head office for the corporation running the apartment complex, a bunch of other shit. I made the mistake of throwing that one out because it was stupid. But it's essentially a bunch of numbers to raise hell over this. So last week, and I feel like a news anchor because I have pieces of paper, the 2 that I saved. So today's the 13th. Oh, by the way, this is the Unwashed Asses, recorded Thursday, July 13th, 2017. I need to start doing that more. Because I always like it when shows like, oh, well, this was recorded on this date. Because then I know if I'm behind or if there's a particular show I liked. I'm like, oh, well, it came out around this time. I can go back and listen to it again. So on the 11th, oh, wait. Which one did I get first? So they posted the notice that the elevator's out. We get an update that it's going to continue to be out. We get the angry letter from the guy. And then... Okay, so then he wrote again. This time he typed it up. It wasn't handwritten and then Xeroxed a bunch of times. I spoke with... Dear fellow residents... semicolon. I spoke with a law office located in Milwaukee today. If anyone is interested in joining me in a class action lawsuit against this corporation regarding the elevator, guarding with a G, GU, it'll cost you nothing as they'll take it on the basis that they will only get paid if there is a settlement. I'm not going to point out this guy's spelling because apparently I still can't fucking read this early in the morning. If there enough interest, they will move forward. Please mail your name, phone number, and address to blah, 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 blah. Thank you for your time. Dated on, so the 11th, he put this up. And it was that morning because I was leaving for work and I saw it. So then I immediately, like, class action lawsuit over the elevator being out. Which, again, there are a lot of disabled and elderly folks on this floor. So the whole, they can't get down the stairs easily. It is a bit of a big deal. Class action lawsuit, big deal? I don't know. And at the same time, if you do go ahead with this class action lawsuit, does your name get put on a list? Does it, when it comes time to, renew your lease, like I'm getting ready to do, it's like, so you've been a really good tenant, we've had no complaints about you, and you've always paid your rent on time, but there's this little matter of a class action lawsuit, so we're going to have to go ahead and decline your renewal. You would originally have till the end of the month to pack your shit, but because you were a little bitch and tried to sue us, you have 26 hours. And it's bullshit. Like, the contract terms should state something along the lines of, oh yeah, feel free to sue us if we fuck something up royally, but like, maybe I'm just being a bitch about it. I'm not willing to risk my apartment because I need to be here at least another year. And I don't want to get entangled in that. And then, two, is a fucking elevator being broken for a couple weeks worthy of a class action lawsuit? What are we going to get out of it? Like, again, if you're disabled or elderly, you might have a leg to stand on in this instance. But for folks like me, where, yeah, I can go ahead and go up and down the 3 flights of stairs without an issue, why are you suing? How are you extremely inconvenienced? Because, we look back in the early days of buildings like these where there were multiple floors and there were tenements and a lot of different families and people living in one building. They didn't have elevators. They had stairs. In fact, it was the advent of the elevator itself which made skyscrapers possible. So, skyscraper, yes, where I've got to go up 13 fucking floors to get to my apartment. Then maybe, yes, class action. Totally, yeah, go for it. You're down. But 3 floors in the middle of a cornfield where, there's several dozen people living in the building, class action worthy? I don't know. But you know what? I'm not a lawyer. I have a lawyer. I pay them an exorbitant amount of money for services, and they do a fairly decent job at that, but I'm not going to go to them and say, hey, so we got this thing where an elevator's been out. I need some legal advice. Should I get in on this class action lawsuit? Are we going to be looking for a fat payday? Or is it going to be shut down in the local courts and then I'm going to get served an eviction notice for rising up against the hand that feeds me, so to speak? But then again, my hand feeds them because I pay the rent. they give me a place to live? I don't know. So we get an updated letter that afternoon saying, "Dear residents, it is believed the main cause of the problem has been diagnosed. The IO boards for the elevator are on order. Continued repairs should start again on Thursday, July 13th, pending the arrival of the shipment. There is not an estimated time of completion at this time. We are sorry for any inconveniences this may cause you. Please note there are stairwells and exits on each ends of the building, as well as the center of the building for the time being. We thank you for your patience during this time. If you have any questions, blah, 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 blah." So clearly, dude's getting under their skin. And it's not a matter of like, oh, he's hiding and, posted it on a few select doors. No, this shit was taped up on every single door. Twice he did this. Now, our property manager's fairly new. We had another guy who was running the joint for years and years and years, and he was an absolute asshat. Nobody liked the guy. Back before I even moved in here, I had to come to the building several times to set up cable, and dude was just an absolute bag of dicks. Just horrible shit stain of a human being. New person, she seems alright. A little kooky, a little weird, but that's fine. I'm not asking her out on a date. I'm not asking her to watch my son. I just have to pay my rent money, and she can take care of the rest. If I complain that something's broken, she just has to be able to fix it. So she can be kooky all she wants. She just has to be able to do her job. And this would be kind of a big old black eye on your first year as a new property manager, where there's already been enough rumbling that the business hours have changed, where they used to be open pretty regularly throughout the week. Now it was several months of constantly being revised working hours to the point where they're not here as nearly as much as they used to be. And then if you, again, we're trying to schedule something or get something done, that makes it harder. And then we add on the elevator being down for a few weeks. Now, back when I did IT and repairs, it was always a matter of managing expectations and keeping the customer informed of what's happening. And you would under-promise and over-deliver. So in this case, it'd be like, it could take upwards of a week for this thing to be fixed. We're waiting for parts and all that. And then on the back end, I'm choosing next day's shipping to get the fucking computer back in their hands within 48 hours. So I'm setting them up like it could take this long because, I don't know, maybe something goes wrong with that order and I need more time to get a replacement on its way. So I do have the buffer. But should everything go according to plan, I get the part, the machine's fixed, and it's back in their hands much sooner. And then they're super fucking happy. So this isn't so much on her end, my next point, as it is the elevator repair company, in the sense that I've only seen one truck for an elevator repair out here one day in the past 2 weeks. I've not seen anybody actively working on the elevators. Now, if I were a company that was in the business of fixing things like elevators, I would have somebody out there until it's fixed, unless we need to have a part on order. Because it's not a thing of, we've got you booked, to 2 to 3 on Thursday. We'll have somebody out there, but 3 o'clock he's got a bug right the fuck out because we have another appointment. Client's paying you for something, you need to do it. Be it elevator repair or anal. So, when you're out fixing something, be it a computer or an elevator, you should have a pretty good idea of, 1, how the thing works, and then 2, how to fix it. You need to know the ins and the outs, exactly everything that goes into it, so then you can go ahead and provide said repair. In that case, then, if it is something where you do need an additional part, then you should have these supplies either A, readily available, or B, have the vendors on hand where you can go ahead and get them ordered up. what I'm trying to get to is, if you don't have the part, if you have the parts, stay there until it's fixed. Oh, god damn it. I'm about to have a really bad day. Fuck me. Give me 1 second. Future Christian, go ahead and edit that last bit out, the dead air bit. But I'm so fucking happy, so fucking excited because of natural disaster. So, second job I do where I deliver the pizza. Just got a call. Apparently, there's been some massive flooding due to recent storms, and the town's on lockdown. And there's no power to the store, so I don't have to go to work tonight. Oh my god, do you guys realize how much Warcraft is in my immediate future? So much. Do you know what that means? I can harass Mezzafesto for his live stream. Do you know what else? I don't know what else. There was something else. Oh, yes. The Midnight Express. Do I stay up? Do I just record it earlier? Do I drive around the countryside and waste gas to record a show that I don't have to do? I don't know. Christian, it's your friend Bane. You should still do the show. It's a matter of honor, and the League of Shadows believes in honor. You're right, Bane. I totally should still do the show, especially since I promised it to all the patrons that we have. You're right! The patrons demand a show! Yeah, you're right. I'll put one out. So, getting back to the elevator. Oh god, I'm so fucking giddy. I'm so fucking giddy. Because literally I have so much shit on my plate, and having an extra afternoon despite losing out on $100 on cold hard cash, it's going to be nice to be productive. Shit, I might take said pants off that I've put on and then go fuck around without pants on for several hours. Yes. All right, so elevator. So if you're fixing it, you should be able to identify the issue and then provide a timeline as far as how quickly it'll take, or how long it'll take to fix said problem. If you need to get a part for it, then set customers' expectations. Like, hey, we've done everything that we can. We need a part for this. So we've got the part on order. It's going to cost this much, and it'll take X number of days to get here. Once we have said part, it'll take X amount of time to get your elevator repaired. So, 2 weeks in and we're getting a letter that now we think we know what's wrong with it. It shouldn't take 2 weeks to figure out what the root cause of the issue is. That should be found day 1. Day 2 should be the fix at most, if not fixed in day 1. Then you have waiting for parts, if anything. So it is a bit fucking ridiculous. And at this time, elevator's still not fixed. I'm gonna go shopping. I'm gonna have to schlep my groceries up the stairs like a schmuck. And it's bullshit. Am I going to sign on a class action lawsuit? Probably not. Definitely not. I'm not going to do it. Who am I kidding? But I'm going to be pissed then if this thing goes through and they're like, we each got $1 million for an elevator being out for 2 weeks. But stranger things have happened. For all we know, we've got 3 rotting corpses on this floor because nobody's been able to use the elevator. God, that'd be shitty, wouldn't it? Oh well. Okay, so those watching the live feed and or video archive just saw my evil cackle without sound, so speaking of dead bodies, let me tell you about the time my grandpa died. So, when I was 10, my parents split up, and we moved in with my grandparents for a bit, and my dad wasn't much a part of my life from kind of there on out. It became this phasing thing, and so what happened was it was my maternal grandparents. My grandpa became very much this father figure for me, and up until that point, of we were close, where he would always take the grandkids out, and we'd go on what he called adventures. So we'd go to like the local dam, or we'd go to the woods, or we'd go to a state park and go hiking around. It'd be a thing of like where my sister and I and my cousins, we'd go over and stay at Nana and Grandpa's house, and Sunday morning it'd always be, we had the Tribune, and we'd read the funnies together, Foxtrot, and Get Fuzzy, and all those, and then Nana would go to the local grocery store and pick up donuts, and so like Yoo-Hoo and chocolate Long Johns, those were the thing. And his grandpa would always say, chocolate, not just chocolate, chocolate. There's hard A in there. And we're gonna go to Joliet today, and so we'd always go and do these things, and those are some of the best memories I have. Everybody be together, and we'd be having fun, and so it was a couple years ago where their health really started to decline. They ended up moving closer to my aunt so she could check in on them, and what had happened is my Nana was developing Alzheimer's, and my grandpa had a weird neurological thing where he was losing his balance a lot, and his health was rapidly declining. Now, he had a very hard, arduous life, where rough childhood, and then he was in the Navy and an iron worker, so he was a big, strong fucking guy, and it was maybe just a thing of this all catching up to him. And so earlier that year, my Nana had passed away, and they moved my grandpa in with my aunt, and you know how they say that when a spouse goes, the other person in that marriage typically quickly follows. And it was definitely the case in this instance as well, where you lose that one person that you had been sticking around for, your partner, the one person who had your back this entire time. When they go, you don't have much else to go on. Sure, you have kids and whatnot, but in this case, they've raised their kids. They had families of their own. There were great-grandchildren in the mix. They'd done their job. And so when my Nana went, it made sense that he was going to quickly follow. And so it had become a thing where we have a death watch, where, with my Nana, it was my mom texting me like, okay, we think tonight's going to be the night. And like the first time she texted me that, I was just fucking destroyed. She texted at like 2 in the morning or something. And I'm like, I sent an email to my employer at the time like, hey, I'm not going to be in tomorrow because apparently my Nana's dying. And then when my mom calls back like an hour later, like, hey, false alarm, she's okay. Like, you sack of shit. Don't do that to me. The fuck's wrong with you? Like, I get it. Make them aware, like, hey, this could be happening, but don't be like, so, Nana's gonna die tonight. Kidding! I was a bit pissed. Like, I was jerked around. I still didn't go into work the next day because I was like, shit, my Nana's dying. And then two was like, well, that was a big old fuck of my emotions. I'm not on an even keel here. And so a similar thing happened with my grandpa where, again, he was living with my aunt, and my mom sends me a text like, hey, it's going to be time here. You should head on down because I live several hours away from my family. You should head on down, and we're all going to be there, and essentially the whole family's getting together, watch Grandpa die. And so I did just that. I talked to my employer. I'm like, hey, I gotta travel down to see my family. My grandpa's gonna die. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I'm gonna be there until it happens. Now, kind of set things up here. This was when I was working my AT job, and it was a 2-man shop, and I was very much the face of the company in the sense that I handled all the residential stuff, the incoming business calls. I would take those, fix it if I could, if not, escalate it. And I worked there 6 days a week, an obscene number of hours, and it was a thing of like his life was that job, and he expected the same of me, and I took a lot of abuse for it. It was a bad, shitty situation. So I drive on down there, and Grampa's not in good shape. When I get there, he looks very out of it. I'm not even sure he's cognizant of who's in the room until he said, I fucking know you're there. And I'm like, oh, well, shit, he's still with it. So they're helping him go to the bathroom and do things like that. And I just now remember, like, the last actual conversation I had with my grandpa was a week before. And I was talking about going down there to visit him, and he said, you know what, I'm going to be going soon. And he apologized for he was going to be missing my son's birthday. And I do the thing of, oh, what are you talking about? You're going to make it. You're going to make it. But I knew it. He knew it. And so I go down there, and he's just, he's a shell of the man that I knew growing up, the man I looked up to. And so it's me, my mom, my sister's not there, my uncle flew in, and her husband, and then my cousins, and everybody's staying in my aunt's house. I'm sleeping in it's me and my cousins, we're all sleeping in my female cousin Molly, her room. And it's weird because like we've stayed in touch, but it's not like when we were kids and we were always hanging out together. So they've grown up and they've gotten into things that they're leading their own lives. And so it's like when you go out of someone's life and you come back in, it's like, oh, look how well you're doing. Look at how much you've grown. And she developed an interest in a show called The New Girl. So, me being the asshole that I am, so, tell me about this show, The New Girl. And they're explaining the show to me. I'm like, no. I'm pretty sure the way this show works is she's actually dead. They have her corpse boarded up in the walls of this apartment, and she's just haunting the shit out of them. And then I continue with that story. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And it involved, a couple nights sleeping down there waiting for this, the death to happen. And apparently I snore like a motherfucker, and they couldn't sleep, and they're getting all upset and angry. Like, God damn it, we had to leave the room because Christian was snoring too loud. Meanwhile, my boss is emailing me like, hey, we have a lot of work piling up. When are you coming back? We need you back like now. We have all these jobs that need to get done. You need to drive up now, and we're going to work all night, and we're going to get all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, fuck off. My grandpa's dying. I'm not coming into work tonight. I'm not coming into work the next day. I got to deal with this shit. Fuck everybody and their broken-ass computers, is what I said in my head. I was talking to my, when I got that email, I called my then girlfriend at the time and took a walk around the block and just fucking blew a gasket. And she's like, you do you. You do what you have to do. That job's not going to be forever. You need to take the time and be with your family and do what you have to do now. Deal with that shit later. And that was a philosophy that I had ascribed to and still do, that be in the moment. Let the other shit wait. Deal with that shit in the future. If you have something that you're focused on now, focus on that. Don't get distracted. And so I sent an email out saying, no, I'm not coming in. I'm going to deal with this, and I'll keep you posted. And so that was at like 10 o'clock that night, and I was pissed. I was fucking fuming. I get angry now even thinking about it. And so by then, we had moved my grandpa's bed out into the living room because that's where all the good dying happens. And we're just kind of sitting around waiting. And what the fuck are those nurses called that come in and hospice? They stay with the family and take care of the person in home. And then all of a sudden, shit's going down. Grandpa's dying. So everybody kind of gathers around, and there's a lot of crying, and you're just kind of standing there, and you're watching this person cease to be. And it was, I don't know. It was something I experienced. It wasn't good or bad. It was just something that happened, and everybody's losing their shit, and then when he's finally gone, it's kind of like when a tornado goes by and there's all this noise and destruction and awful things happening, and all of a sudden it's just quiet. That's what happened. It just got quiet. And after a couple minutes of that, all of a sudden real world comes back in. Like that brief little moment where you're taken out of time to just experience this one thing, it ends. Time moves on. And then you're faced with the reality of, we have to prepare this body. We have to, wait for his body to finish shitting itself, clean that up, get rid of the diaper, get him dressed up, call the funeral home, have him come over, move the body over to the gurney, and then say bye to Grandpa forever. Like, it becomes we have to do this shit. We have to do it now. We have to deal with this. And at this point, family kind of disappears. And I know some of you are going to listen to this, so I'm not going to cast judgment, but I found it funny that everybody's gone. And I've got my own hang up. I don't like touching dead things, be it a dead rabbit or my dead grandpa. So the hospice nurse, she's like doing her thing. I'm like, oh, I'm going to stay here and help you because he's a big fucking guy. You're just one person. You're going to need help. So give me some rubber gloves. I'll help you out. And at that point in my life I saw my, grandpa naked because we're helping to prepare a body. It's like, okay, gray pubes are a thing. That's definitely shit in his diaper. And I don't know. It's a very different look. It's a slap in the face to like, here's everything you know. Fuck off with that. This is how it is now. And so we're getting him dressed and we're putting like his Bears stuff on because he was a big old Bears fan. And it was me and my cousin and my uncle helping get him dressed. And I will never forget this moment as long as I live. So there comes the moment where, you've got to get the shirt off. And it's not like an ER where we have the decision, we're like, call all his clothes off and then put his new clothes on. And so we have to lift him up. And when they say like, oh, it was like dead weight is totally a thing where it's like, you've got this big fucking human mannequin that we move in weird ways when like there's a lot of muscle control happening that you don't realize. And so when you're moving a dead body, it's unexpected what can happen. And so my cousin's standing on the other side of the bed, and he and I kind of each grab an arm and we scoop up Grandpa and we're lifting him up. And as we're pulling him up, his head snaps back and there's this loud crack like a breaking bone, and then that last gasp of air that escapes from his lips. How do you respond to that situation? Well, if you're me, you start laughing your ass off, and then you say to everybody, it's okay, I've been preparing for this my whole life by watching a shitload of Weekend at Bernie's. Which is true. I loved Weekend at Bernie's as a kid. Holy shit, was it one of my favorite movies. And I think that's the moment we needed that night, where it broke that tension and everybody started laughing again because I'm awesome. But no, it was a funny moment. Just the crack and the It's okay, guys. I've got this. So we finished getting him dressed, and there was something about his shoes. They weren't Timberlands, but they were the stereotypical like ghetto shoe. Like, what the fuck are we putting on him? Why are we dressing him like this? And then he had the sports section and the funnies. We put a newspaper on him because apparently that's a thing that we do. Called up the funeral home, and he came out fully decked out in a suit, and they do the thing where they wheel in the gurney and then they have the body bag. So we then help, we grab the sheet, we lift him up and move him over and pull the sheet out and zip up the bag, which I gotta admit, movies kind of have it spot on where, like, once that bag zips up, that person's gone forever. It's when that reality of the situation kind of hits you. Because even though he was dead, we were still interacting with him in a weird kind of manicky puppet situation, but he was still there. And when that bag zipped up, that was the last time I saw him. And so then they wheel him outside and they put him in the hearse and they drive away. And it's over. It's done. And then you're in a moment where time kind of stops. You're taken out of things, out of the world, and you're put in this little like kind of side waiting room while you deal with this thing. And then as the car pulls away, you're slapped with reality again. Like, oh shit, life's got to carry on. So everybody's like, well, are you going to go home now? I'd been staying there for a few days with them, waiting for this thing to happen. And now it's oh, you're gonna go home? Well, we'll let you know when the funeral is and all that. And so I drove home that night because my boss was being a dick, and I went into work that morning and put in my 2-week notice. Whew. That got emotional. That got heavy. Intense. And that burned up a lot more time than I thought it would. Holy shit, we're already at 51 minutes. Whew, oh man, that was... I don't open up like that. I think that was very therapeutic and good for all of us. We learned. We cried. We laughed. And I had a third topic, but I realized it's going to alienate some of my audience and make me look like a dick. And I got to figure out a way to make it funnier so then I can toe that line and still talk about it. So instead, we're going to bring up a debate. I'm going to bring up a debate that's been going around in the Discord chat, and ooh, I need to lotion up my feet. They're peeling there. That's no good. That's disgusting. He says, peeling his foot skin on the stream. Who would win in a fight? I always love this question because it's a thing of you get to cross generations, genres, and all sorts of manner of wackiness can ensue. Like, who would win? A Star Destroyer or the USS Enterprise? Who would win, Darth Vader or the Borg? Who would win, Gene Autry or the guy who played Fez from That 70s Show? So, the idea struck me, who would win? Willy Wonka, as played by Gene Wilder, or the Lost Boys from Peter Pan? Now, the Lost Boys kind of make sense. They're children that have been plucked from their home here on Earth, taken away to a fantasy land where they have fought pirates for hundreds of years. They have fought and survived, except for Rufio. He died like a bitch. Willy Wonka, on the other hand, is a man who runs a factory and got away with the murder of several children in front of their parents. So in the showdown, who wins? In a physical contest, you could easily say it's going to be the Lost Boys. He's just one man, not even a trained man, not even a pirate, not a physical man. These are very physical children who have been killing physical men for, again, hundreds of years. They have a lot of experience on their side. But Wonka's devious. Who knows how long he's actually been around? And I'm not going to count the Tim Burton, Johnny Depp thing in this. I'm going purely Gene Wilder because he portrayed a level of intensity and insanity rarely seen by true horror and or villainous men. So he has a level of dedication where he decided candy was his thing, and when we get to the tunnel scene, the one, where are we going, no one knowing, there's some unhinged mind lying behind that crazy fucking Juvro. Was he Jewish? I don't even know. Write the show, complain, call me an anti-Semite. And I think it comes down to a matter of who has home turf. You know, you put the Lost Boys in their fantasy forest and island paradise, it becomes a thing of, again, it's one non-physical man fighting a dozen very physical boys. Not much of a contest. They have their own traps set up, if not just, running him through with a sword. Now, you shift the shoe to the other foot, and we're in Wonka's factory, things get a little deadlier. They get a little more dark and drastic. In other words, that start with D. And I almost want to see it played out in that, where it only feels right that it takes place in the factory because the factory is Wonka. Wonka is his factory. And we need to kind of put it on an even playing field where the ingenuity of the Lost Boys could get them through several of Wonka's traps. Now, Wonka in this situation, I see him playing out like the Joker, because when the Joker takes on Batman, it's not a physical fight. Every time it comes down to fisticuffs, Batman beats the shit out of the Joker. The Joker always has an elaborate plan or a series of traps that the Batman has to outsmart. And that's how Wonka himself works. Now, sorry, I got distracted thinking about how much fun I'm going to have tonight not going to work. So inside the factory itself is where Wonka is going to be his strongest, and it might not even be like a final boss solution where they have to overcome a series of traps and puzzles to get to Wonka and put an end to the menace. He might still get away, but if they can overcome the factory, then they've beaten Wonka. But it's such the perfect setup because he preys on children, and not in like a weird fucked up pedophile way. He just gets off on killing kids, and he does it through the most ingenious means out there. He baits them in with what they want, candy. Now again, pedophiles do this. They have vans and then they offer candy and puppies. But the true brilliance of Wonka is being able to kill the kids and do it in front of the parents and get away. Like, oh shit, we had an accident. And the kids are like, the parents are like, we're in a factory. There's lots of dangerous things happening. My kid Mike TV just fucking died. What are you gonna do? She done turned into a big old blueberry where a bunch of little orange men are gonna squeeze the juice out of her. They're gonna bleed her dry. And I don't know that we saw truly the extent of the factory itself, how deep it goes. For all we know, Chocolate River leads into whipped cream swamps with licorice snakes and gumdrop mosquitoes that, as they suck the blood out of you, they expand and fill up. And there could be mountains of chocolate that crumble and fall away in sudden avalanches of powdered sugar. And we haven't even taken into consideration the Oompa Loompas themselves. They are Wonka's army. The factory is his tool. It is his piece de resistance. But the Wonkas are physical goons. They're about the same size as the Lost Boys, and there's an untold number of them. They display a level of cooperation and teamwork that I don't think the Lost Boys can, measure up to. They can immediately burst into an impromptu song with exquisite choreography and rhyming, the likes of which the greatest poets will not be able to touch. All while taking genuine joy in their job of murdering children. Xbox Assassin, they can't be punt kicked. Lost Boys, again, about the same size as the Oompa Loompas. Talking Lost Boys, children. They're teenagers at most. So we're still looking around, 4 foot, 4'5". And that's in addition to trying to survive the horrors of the factory. I could be wrong. I could be biased. But honestly, I don't know how biased I am. I don't really care for Willy Wonka. I never liked the Gene Wilder movie. Only recently have I appreciated it because of that darkness that's hiding behind the lollipops. But even then, I won't go back and watch it. Whereas Peter Pan and the Lost Boys, I totally got into that shit as a kid. Like, yeah, it's amazing, it's awesome. I want to die and live as a ghost in an afterlife where I fight pirates on a paradise island with fairies and mermaids. What kid wouldn't want that? Fucking here, put the gun to my head, do this. And if we're lending the credence of a darker Wonka, we have to do the same for the Lost Boys, where if we go with the theory that, yes, they're dead and Neverland is heaven, can Wonka truly kill them? Does he have to enlist the help of the Ghostbusters to bring them down? Or do we go with the assumption that because this is a fantasy land, he's lured them back to life with candy that he can then murder them again? Or is Wonka so devious that he's trying to capture these ghosts of dead children into his bottled spirits to make a new product? Because that's what he did with Augustus Gloop. Kid got all full of chocolate. We're going to make chocolate kids. They're going to be delicious. They got little crunchy bits in them. And Viola or Violet, the blueberry girl, they squeezed all the blood out of her. What the fuck you think happened? Blueberry pies. Blueberry jam and jelly. He's not going to throw product away. Wonka's a man that turns everything to his advantage. So I don't know. The Lost Boys might be ingenious enough where they can overcome the traps and take down the Oompa Loompas. Because as Xbox Assassin is so insistent on pointing out, anything that's not 5 foot could be punt kicked. It can't be punted if the other person's 5 foot, though. It doesn't work like that. But maybe the Lost Boys are ingenious enough where, yes, they can figure out how to punt the Oompa Loompas. Maybe I do them a disservice. But I think this would be, good back and forth. If anybody wants to write some weird fan fiction, go right ahead. Be more than happy to read it on the show. But yeah, right on in. theunwashedasses@gmail.com or Twitter @unwashed_asses. And we can have a little back and forth. We can go toe to toe, blow for blow. Wonka versus the Lost Boys. Now again, this isn't including Pan. Pan's his own separate entity. But should Pan be thrown into the mix? Because he's the leader, much as Wonka is. I don't know. Write the show. But until then, do remember, write the show. Distracted here, working soundboard. Wrong song. There we go. Head on over to podcastawards.com. Make sure to register, vote the Unwashed Asses in the mature category, and we'll get ourselves an award. Till then, we'll see you next Thursday, 9 a.m.
It will soon be here. Oh, that much is clear. So shut the doors and turn off the lights. Let us sleep tonight. Let us huddle in the dark. Oh, my lover, you are beautiful. beautiful, but that beauty comes at such a price. And I know that you'll soon disappear, like the dark and the night.
This show is part of the HFC Gaming Network. Get more at horrorofcasitis.com.